Okay, so esquites. Esquites is like a corn salad, and the first time I had this was with ex-girlfriend of mine, and oh my God, can't even imagine what it's like to get laid again. So I had it with her at a restaurant in the city, and they served it in this like little paper cup, which is cool. And is a suggestion I would make to you is serve it in like a 5-ounce paper cup if we could find something really neat looking, like a retro Dixie cup or something like that. It would look really good. You just throw a spoon in there, and it's a really nice appetizer to serve, definitely at a barbecue or picnic or something like that, or an outdoor soiree, a gala or a gala. You could serve, I don't know if you'd serve esquites at a gala, but it's really good. I use feta in it because we use feta so frequently at our house, and I feel like the feta imitates well enough what queso fresco or cotija cheese does. Cotija cheese, last time I had it, I felt very, very ill for like a week because probably most of my life I've had a lactose intolerance, but I just try to plow through it, and I hit it like a brick wall. So I steer away from that cheese as much as I like it, and feta just seems I don't really have a problem with that. So that's the reason I'm using feta. Also, feta is more largely available in grocery stores. Probably every single grocery store has feta cheese. And if you go somewhere like Utah or Colorado, New Mexico, you actually will see feta pretty frequently on a Tex-Mex, in a burrito or something like that, as opposed to queso fresco. I mean, as much as queso fresco is great, I think it's just people tend to use it if it's more widely available. So we use queso fresco with it, hit it with some lime, fresh lime, a lot of cilantro on top, and it's just incredible. It's so good. I tried to stop myself from eating the entire. You'll see how big the portion I made in like a boat, kind of, which is another way you could serve it. You served it for two. It's perfect if you own a restaurant out there. Just go ahead and steal my recipe because it's really nice, great presentation. You could put it on a picnic table like this. If you own a restaurant with big garage doors and a picnic table where people play bocce outside, okay? So let's go make the esquites, and see you soon. Remember the days of icing when people would ice each other? You hide a Smirnoff behind your buddy's pillow or in the shower, Those days are over, but you could still drink Smirnoff ice in a controlled environment, not a college dorm where people are just getting loaded all the time. So to make the esquites, you're going to start with a couple ears of corn. I have four or five. I called on a fifth ear of corn for this, a larger one. But, depends on how big they are, right? It always depends. It always depends on the size here. So I'm just going to advise 4 ears of corn off the bat. Remove the husks and the silk underneath, the corn silk. I don't even know if that's what it's called, but damn sure seems like silk to me. Yeah, I just looked it up. It is silk, okay? Take the silk off, throw your husks out, and clean up because this is gets everywhere. It's just one of those things that gets everywhere. Then you're going to want to wash whatever remnants of that silk you can off of your corn before you begin to shuck it. It doesn't mean, look, if some of it probably will make it in, but it'll just burn off really fast. To shuck your corn, you're going to want a pretty sharp knife, and just be careful with it because this is probably not, how I should have done it with my fingers like that at all. And if you're nervous, then whatever, that's part of the thrill of Cast Iron Man cooking is the danger. It's pretty much the only form of danger I get in my life is when I'm holding a cooking knife, chef's knife in my hand, which says a lot about me. Just shuck as much of the corn off as you can, and after you're totally done, you should have around 2 full cups of kernels, and it'll make 4 portions or so for people. this recipe, and like I said, if you just throw it in a little Dixie cup with a spoon, it's a nice little quick grab at a barbecue or something like that. Heat up your cast iron skillet over medium-high heat and throw in about 1 or 2 tablespoons of olive oil and 3 tablespoons of butter. For this recipe, we have the leftover butter from the halibut recipe, so we're going to use the nice butter for this. You should always use nice butter, but goddamn, you know, it seems like it just blasts your wallet when you go and your butter bills will go straight through the roof. Once the butter is thoroughly melted and heated, you're going to begin to toss in all of your lovely corn kernels and then flatten them out into a nice layer. I jacked up the heat to, I would call it high at this point, so you get a nice crisp on each side of those kernels. Be patient with it, though. You don't need to flip them right off the bat. You don't need to stir them right off the bat. You're going to want to first achieve a little color on them, and then you can begin to incorporate your other vegetables and your salt and pepper to the... Look at that. Look at that salad. That's not salad yet. Look at that corn and the nice crust it's developing on it. Just be attentive, semi-attentive to it. Obviously, you can be as dark as you want it to be. But once it is kind of 3 or 4 minutes on one side, flip it around, hit it with some fresh black pepper and some sea salt, not iodized salt. Don't ever use iodized salt. Somebody tell me in the comments why they even sell that shit. It says that it's a vital nutrient or something. And obviously corn is not a nutrient at all. It just passes right through your body. Once your salt and pepper are introduced, then you can go ahead and add a jalapeno, which has been finely diced. And I add this at this point once we are nearing the end of the cooking process because I want to get the pepper to cook a little bit. I want as much freshness retained as I can, and that is also true of when I add the red onion in at the end because we don't want it to actually cook down. We still want a little bit of that fresh, that crispness of the jalapeno with the juice when it is more towards the side of raw. Keep stirring, keep arranging the corn in a flat layer so that it develops more of a sear on each side of the kernel. Obviously, you're not going to be able to get a completely omnidirectional sear on the corn, but do the best you can and scrape up all those nice brown bits which are developing on the bottom because they are part of the flavor, and you want to make sure you don't omit them from your corn salad. Finally, like I said, the red onion is going to go in, and that's very near the end, maybe a minute or two from the final portion of the cooking process. In total, this took about 10 minutes. I would say honestly, you could honestly just dump the red onion in to the final mixing process. You don't even have to cook it if you don't want, but you get a good secretion of the juices from the onion if you just introduce a little heat to it near the end. So now our corn is ready to go, and we're going to want to throw it in a large enough mixing bowl so that we can get a full coating of our dressing on there. Look at that. That's nice. Nice and gold. A little bit of white corn in there too. So first, we're going to microplane some garlic over the top because we don't want to have big diced pieces of garlic. We want it to be almost like liquefied. And just scrape away. Drop the garlic cloves a million times because they're sweating and it's like 90 degrees outside while you're doing this. Well, at least me. Then you're going to hit it with about half of a lime and juice it well over the top of the corn. You're going to introduce 2.5 to 3 tablespoons of mayonnaise, Hellmann's real mayonnaise, opposed to fake, phony mayonnaise, imitation mayonnaise, imposter mayonnaise. Give it a really thorough mix, and you will have something that resembles this. Looks great so far, but it's not done. Where's the cheese, right? Had a big spiel about cheese at the beginning. We need cheese. There it is. There's the feta cheese. I started with about, let's say, an ounce of feta cheese. I mix into the actual salad itself, and then we're going to retain the rest for topping. So I use this food boat, this Kraft Natural food boat, which I had left over from our food truck enterprise. And, you know, it's good. This is good. That's good for 2 people right there. I mean, well, that's a lot for 2 people, but it's really good, so you probably will eat the whole thing. I like to put a ton of cilantro on top of this just to hammer home the idea of freshness with this dish, because I think that everything that's in it is, well, I mean, Mexican food in general has that element to it, which makes it so incredible. Top it with the cilantro, top it with the remainder of your feta cheese, or as much as you prefer. If you want to load it up. And then at the end, just hit it with a little chili powder on top, give it some color. And we have a couple forks we're going to throw in there, so we can eat it outside on the deck. And now you have a beautiful Mexican corn salad, Esquites. And I hope you enjoy. See you guys soon.